Yo, this is Bench Gamer here. So recently there has been some controversy surrounding the Games Awards show. This isn't even the first controversy, but this specific one has to do with Genshin Impact, and since I'm a Genshin Impact content creator, I guess I should cover this. But this is not the first one I've heard about. The first one I heard about for this year is the fact that Sifu is in the fighting games category. And if you're part of the fighting game community or play fighting games in general, you probably do not consider Sifu a fighting game. Because if Sifu gets to be a fighting game, then like practically speaking, any of these games could be fighting games. Genshin Impact, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, even fucking Sonic Frontiers could qualify as a fighting game if Sifu gets to be a fighting game. When people talk about fighting games, obviously they're talking about a very specific format of fighting game, not just the fact that there is fighting in the game. So when I heard about that controversy, I basically checked out of the Games Awards show as something I should realistically pay attention to. For a very long time, I've basically just considered it an outlet for games companies to broadcast and advertise whatever game they want to advertise, whether it's an old game or a new game. It's just something for them to like circle jerk to themselves. And that is even reflected in the jury. If you don't know, 95%, like roughly 95 to 98% of the nominated games in their categories are going to be determined by 90% jury and 10% user votes. So 90% of the votes are going to come from institutionalized game reporters like Easy Allies, Digital Trends, Game Ranks. I've heard of some of these. IGN, I'm pretty sure you've heard of IGN. Pretty sure you've heard of Giant Bomb. But some of these are pretty general, like LA Times. Like, what the fuck do they have to do with video games? They don't have anything to do with it. They're just a news reporting agency. And there's some other what the fuck ones as well, like The Guardian. What are they doing here? I don't really know. So I don't really give a fuck about the Game Awards as something that is representative of like the player base, except for this one category called Player's Voice, which is supposedly supposed to represent like 100% players' voices. It says, which is your favorite game of the year? By the way, favorite game of the year, not favorite game that came out this year, just favorite game of the year. There's a big difference there that I will get into later on, that it may or may not be significant. But anyways, this is supposed to represent 100% of the player's voice, which basically means that it's supposed to be 100% determined by your votes, the general people. Now, this could be a good or bad thing, depending how you think about it. Ideally, it would be a more representative category for what users actually think, but the fact that these 5 games are what have come out in the final round. It's supposed to have 3 rounds, but these 5 games are the ones that came out on top. Basically means that it's just a popularity contest. That's really what it is. I'm not saying that any of the other game categories and their awards are not popularity contests, but this specific one is definitely a popularity contest. And as you can see with the candidates, there is a very big problem here, which is that Genshin Impact has a very significant and distinctive advantage over all these other games. And that's the fact that this is a free to play game. I will get more into that later on. But essentially, the controversy is that there is an allegation, or several allegations, or different allegations. It's hard to keep track, but the main allegation is that Genshin Impact, a game with aggressive monetization mechanics, is currently winning at the Game Awards because they're bribing players to vote with in game rewards. Super cool direction the game industry is headed towards. You too can win the Best Art award. Just lock all of your art behind the paywall and tell your players they can see it by voting you for the best artwork, for the best art award. So obviously, for a lot of Genshin fans, this is probably going to sound very hyperbolic, and you probably expect like the vast majority of Genshin fans to disagree with this. And there definitely are very technical rebuttals to this. For example, she or he, I don't know, is saying that they are literally bribing players with in-game rewards, right? But as a Genshin fan, you probably know, just like I do, that there is no such technical, bribery going on. They're not literally the MiHoYo is not literally going up to us and saying, if you gotta vote for us, or else you're not getting this or that. You're not getting this reward. You see, if we win, we will give you this reward. They literally did not tell us that, and that's basically what Daniel Ahmad is saying here. Daniel Ahmad is a senior analyst at Nico Partners. I cover the video games market in Asia, including Middle East and North Africa. So this is someone I've followed for a long time for general news on the Asian games market. And he basically says, how does this have 40,000 likes when it's completely false? And as you can see here, it's even more than that now. It's like 70,000 likes. So this is going on a viral tangent here. But technically speaking, what he says is right. There is no real bribery going on in the way that MiHoYo is literally tweeting out, well, you gotta vote for us, or else you're not getting this. Or if you do vote for us, you're getting this. But what I want to make clear is that this is not, ethically speaking, true. So what Genshin Impact does is that, as a thank you letter to all travelers, they have tweeted this. Dear traveler, thanks to your support, Genshin Impact received the PlayStation at Partner Awards 2022 Grand Award. We will be giving out Primo Gems times 1-800 from December 4th to December 7th. And basically what happens is that since they won this award, which I didn't even know existed, we are getting 800 Primo Gems separated into 4 installments for like 4 or 5 days. I think it's like 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's like 4 days. So we're getting 800 Primo Gems over 4 days. And this is not the first time they've done this. And this is kind of interesting because I'll get more into this later on. But this award is not something we could vote on. It's not even something that we work towards. So that's very interesting. I'll get back to this later on. But here is more precedent where Genshin Impact and MiHoYo has awarded us for voting for Genshin Impact in the Games Awards directly for this institution. So they're saying, dear travelers, thanks to your support, Genshin Impact has won the Best Mobile Game Award at the Games Awards 2021. We will be giving out 1,600 Primo Gems from December 11th to December 5th, 14th. So again, that's like 5 days. 1,600 Primo Gems over 5 days. Thank you for coming alongside through this journey. So there is clear precedent that Genshin Impact and MiHoYo awards us for voting for them in these awards, or whatever you want to call them, this institution where whatever is going on. And they've also won other awards. For example, recently I think Genshin won like the best ongoing game for Google Play. And here is a reward code. They're not saying that it's based on them winning the best ongoing game for Google Play, but this is literally a collab between HoYo Lab, which is the forum that MiHoYo and Genshin Impact run, and Google Play and YouTube Premium. So these companies are all in it together to make more money, to reward us for keeping playing this game. Just like how MiHoYo and PlayStation have like this collab going on. We literally got a free character that is admittedly a very shitty character. I forgot her name. I think it's Aloy or something. She's in Horizon Zero Dawn and that other game nobody gives a fuck about because Elden Ring came out. So we got her in Genshin Impact, and nobody uses her now. And then I think we also got some. I don't know. I think that's the only thing we got. We got a PlayStation-only weapon, I think. So these companies are all working together to make Genshin Impact a success. It's not just that we're literally voting for them. These companies are literally all working together. And I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that it's also possible that, the Games Awards show is literally working with MiHoYo at some point. Or maybe they're not. They mispronounced Genshin Impact. They called it Genshin Impact. But that doesn't really mean anything. You don't need to know how to pronounce it to work with HoYoverse or MiHoYo or whatever they want to call themselves to make Genshin Impact seem like a more popular game than it is. So that leads me to the second allegation, which is, okay, I gotta erase this first. The second allegation is that MiHoYo is botting the game, or not specifically MiHoYo, but Genshin Impact fans are botting the game. And this one is completely unsubstantiated. I want to repeat, this one is completely unsubstantiated. But I also want to say that I do believe that Genshin has at some point, or is continuing to bot some places in the Genshin fandom. And I have no proof of this, but this is something I personally suspect, and you can completely disregard it if you want to. But let's just get into the allegation first of all. Proof that Genshin fans are using bots to win and convince they'll get free in-game currency if they do. Now this tweet is interesting because this person completely misunderstands what the screenshot they are tweeting about is saying. So M4NENY, I'm guessing their name is just called Meanie, is saying on Reddit, as of right now, Sonic lost 22% from its peak at 77% with help from bots and vote manipulation, only allowing Sonic to get voted until changing it to different game afterwards. So read this carefully. Read this carefully. What they are saying is that Sonic was in the lead because they were botting. And what this tweet is saying is that they are convinced that this tweet, this Reddit post, is saying that Sonic lost because Genshin is botting. But that is not what this guy is saying at all. In fact, they go on to say Genshin is going strong at 23%, and this is all before it's morning in Asia. We got this. Let's not let a scammy Sonic win. They are saying that Sonic fans are scamming the Game Awards. Do it for free Primo Gems. Primo Gems are just the currency that is used in Genshin Impact. So this person is completely misunderstanding what this Reddit post is about, and they're even like crediting these other people, not really crediting, provided by Nefarious Rio. I guess this guy also believes that this Reddit post is saying that Genshin Impact fans are the ones botting. But this Reddit post, let me make it clear, this Reddit post is not saying that. You need to read this carefully, and you even see below in these other tweets that they're saying the opposite. Because Meanie's account, I think I have it open here somewhere. Yeah, you have it here. This guy is pro Genshin. This guy wants Genshin to win. They are saying that Sonic, or whatever group is supporting Sonic, is the one that is botting. So we've got all of this mixed up. We have Sonic fans claiming that Genshin fans are botting the Game Awards, and then we have another post here on Reddit on Genshin Impact claiming that Sonic fans are botting the Game Awards. So it's all very mixed up. And I want to make it clear that none of this has me convinced that specific fans are doing this botting. So here we have like a chart that is supposed to represent Sonic fans botting. You can see here the dark blue is represented by Sonic. Let me zoom in. The dark blue is represented by Sonic, and the light blue is represented by Genshin, is representing Genshin. And these spikes are supposed to represent botting. And I don't know if this is true, but this graph, this chart is complete shit because it doesn't show what the X and Y axis even mean. Like, what are these numbers supposed to mean? I have no idea. And then he gives us a link that says thegameawards.com API.stats/stats bracket, and this doesn't lead to anything. So I don't know why this has like, I don't understand why this has 3,862 upvotes. This is just prime Reddit bullshit. It's literally, it doesn't mean anything. There's no proof at all. And there's no proof that Genshin fans are also botting. There's no proof of anything of this. But does that mean that MiHoYo is not botting? I don't know. I personally do believe that MiHoYo has been botting in the past. I have no proof of this again. But my personal conspiracy is that some of the subs on Reddit for specific characters, especially the ones that are not as popular, and specific fandoms for certain characters that are not as popular, are definitely in some ways being botted by MiHoYo. I don't believe that these characters can create the fandom that they did if it weren't for MiHoYo advertising. And I don't even think, here's the part that people are going to get really controversial about and really hate me for. I don't believe this is unethical. I don't believe that this is specifically something that I care about. Because it's all part of the game. It's all part of advertising the game. Do you honestly think that other game companies aren't doing the same thing, creating viral tweets, creating these viral Reddit posts that are promoting the games? Do you honestly think all the people making these tweets are like not being paid for by a game company of some sort? There are billions of dollars at stake. You honestly think these advertising companies are going to leave it up to the players to create the hype for themselves? It's completely stupid that you think they're not doing that. So even if Genshin Impact and MiHoYo are doing this botting, I don't really give a shit. Because ultimately, I enjoy the game. So as long as I enjoy the game, why the fuck would I care that they're botting? It's just something that all companies do at this point. So for this specific botting allegation, I don't care about it. I don't care whether or not Sonic or Genshin fans are doing the botting. I have not been convinced that this is the case by either side. And as far as I know, there's no proof of it either way. This is just bullshit. But I will say that even if there is botting, there are some things that cannot be replicated by botting. And here is where I like this post by Sophia Emmy 11 Attack, which says, if you're wondering how Genshin is winning a fan popularity poll, I want you to consider that it came out more than 2 years ago, and I haven't gone a full 24 hours since without seeing art of Mona's huge butt. The one, I think this Twitter tweet is being a tiny bit hyperbolic. If you're literally seeing a pic of Mona's huge butt like at least once every day, then I don't know what you're looking at. But it is true that Genshin fans are probably very horny in general for these characters. So they're saying that people are being bribed by free Primo Gems. Dude, it's a mobile game. Every one of those that's even halfway popular has a fan base that will do basically anything for free rolls. And also, Genshin has more or less the most popular game on the planet these days. Exactly. So even without bots, even if we take out like all of the engineering by the game companies, I still think that in general, Genshin Impact is at a very severe advantage, or all these other games are at a very severe disadvantage. Because one, Genshin is a free game. I can play Genshin for free, and all these other millions of people who have played Genshin also play the game for free, at least initially. I have not played any of these other games. It's not a judgment call on the quality of these games. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that these games are not well made. But I have not played these games because these games are not free. Stray, I believe, is on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, but you need to pay money for that. Sonic Frontiers, I believe there's no like Game Pass for that, and you need to pay full price for it, or you need to pay at least a front price, a price to entry. And God of War Ragnarok, of course, is not going to get discounted. It's like $80 to $90 Canadian. I have not bought that for that reason. I have not bought Elden Ring for that reason. I have not played any of these other games except for Genshin Impact for those reasons. And in addition to that, Genshin Impact is on more platforms than any of these other games. I don't think Stray is on mobile yet. It could be on mobile at some point, but I have not seen that. Maybe it's on Steam, the Steam mobile thing now. But is it even out on platforms that aren't PlayStation? I'm not sure. Is this a PlayStation exclusive? I'm not sure. But basically, all of these games are only on PC or on console. Genshin Impact, however, has the mobile market, and because it has an inherently larger user base, it's always going to win as so long as the company and the community can mobilize that player base to vote for Genshin Impact. You don't even need Primo Gems. Like, Primo Gems is a reason for people to criticize others for voting Genshin Impact. But let's not beat around the bush. Genshin Impact just has a larger user base in general, just because it is free. And it is all on all these platforms. It's on PC, it's on PlayStation, it's on mobile, it's on iOS, it's on Android. You can play this game nearly everywhere. So it's not a fair competition. This is not the player's voice. This is the award for which game has the bigger user base. You can't vote for any of these games unless you have a vendetta against Genshin Impact if you've never played these other games in the first place. Doesn't that seem ridiculous to you? This is not a fair competition at all. So the fact that, Sonic fans and Sonic developer and the Genshin Impact developer and whoever is soliciting votes for their games does not bother me at all. This is not a fair fight. And so whatever result comes from this player's choice is not going to be indicative of the quality of these games. Whatever may happen, whether it's Sonic who wins or Genshin Impact, I'm sure that a lot of people who played God of War Ragnarok only, or Elden Ring, probably think those games are way better than Sonic Frontier. And the overlap between these games and this game and this game and this game and this game at their core player base is probably not that large. The people who play Genshin Impact probably did not play, Stray or God of War or Sonic Frontiers or Elden Ring beyond maybe like 8 or 10% of the player base if we're being very, very generous. And that goes the same for all of these other games as well. So, going back to some of the awards that Genshin won, right? To just strike home how big of the difference is between these games. The award that Genshin won for the PlayStation Partner Awards 2022 Japan Asia winners is not decided by the users. This is not a user-decided category that Genshin won, and they still awarded us with rewards. And do you know what determines the winner for this category, this this grand winner. Okay, so let me just read this. Find out who won the Grand Award, Partner Award, Special Award, and the User's Choice Award. The PlayStation Partners Awards 2022 Japan Asia, hereinafter referred to as PlayStation Partner Awards, ceremony was held today on December 2nd to honor the winners from the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 titles that became a big hit over the past year. So this is for the 2021 to 2022 fiscal cycle. The PlayStation Award Partner Awards began in 1994, the year after the birth of PlayStation, to celebrate the accomplishments of creators and to honor the wide variety of hit titles that have thrilled the PlayStation community. So this is just for PlayStation. This marks the 28th year of these historic awards. This year's PlayStation Partner Awards presented the Grand Award to two titles, Partner Award to 5 titles, Special Award to 2 titles, and User's Choice Award to 5 titles. The Grand Award was awarded to 2 titles, awarded to the top 2 titles developed in the Japan-Asia regions with the highest worldwide sales between October 21 to September 2022. This was awarded to 2 titles, which is kind of funny to me, but it's Genshin Impact and Elden Ring. It's not really a surprise. So I think it's pretty clear which one is like the grand winner overall here, even though there's 2 awards. It's not listed alphabetically. G comes E, F, G. Yeah, okay, I still know my alphabet. G comes after E, so it's not listed alphabetically. And it's not listed by region either, because Japan, it comes first, and then it's Asia. So it's probably not listed by Japan and then Asia. Genshin Impact is made in China. So the fact that they listed Genshin Impact first probably means that Genshin Impact is still overall the more profitable of the 2 titles. And you can put that down to like whales, but just in terms of overall player base, it's probably the one that it's probably the one that has the most player base and as such made the most money. Is that really a controversial thing to say, knowing that it's a free-to-play game? I don't think it is. So all of these other games besides Genshin Impact are at a disadvantage, not only because Genshin Impact is not a 22 game. Sorry. Ugh. So not only is Genshin Impact not a 2022 game, it's also just more popular in general. You can see it in Google Trends, but you compare it to all these other games in the same category. Elden Ring, it popped off super huge, probably the most significant game launch of our, like, I can't remember a game launch that was this big since maybe World of Warcraft. I think it's literally that big. It obviously was much greater in terms of its initial influence than, like, I don't know, Genshin Impact. Let's look at 5 years. Yeah, its peak was bigger than Genshin Impact, but then it fell off, not very fast, but mind you. This is a very natural fall off. That does not indicate that it is a bad game. It is just not as consistent because it's a single player RPG. PvP doesn't count. The new DLC is bullshit. But it was ultimately going to fall off in terms of its popularity, because once you're done with the game, you're done with the game. It's a very long game. Once you're done with it, what are you supposed to do? You've done 100% of the content. Are you going to explore literally every single cranny in the game again? No. That's boring as fuck. So, yeah, Genshin keeps on getting updated with new content. Even God of War Ragnarok at its peak was still not as popular as Genshin Impact was. And yes, you can put it down to bots. You can put it down to all this. But let me tell you, what you cannot bot is the amount of porn entries for Genshin on rule34.xxx. And I will tell you, I can't show you this here, but Genshin is up there with some of the biggest franchises of all time. It doesn't have as many entries as some of them, but it's being only around for a fraction of the time that those franchises have been around. And I will show you that in 1 or 2 years, it will overtake them in the number of porn entries. Genshin Impact's fanbase is horny as fuck. And a lot of people are horny. So the fact that it's so popular does not surprise me in any way whatsoever. Hentai sells. Waifu sell. And God of War Ragnarok is not going to be able to compete in that. Elden Ring is not going to be able to compete in that. Sonic Frontiers might be able to, but Like if we look at the sales for Sonic Frontiers, what is it? In Japan, it's like what? According to this, blah 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 blah, 10,000 units across Switch and PlayStation, and that was what in November 18th. The experiment has paid off with Sonic Frontiers selling 46,000 units on Switch and PlayStation alone. That's peanuts. The that's less than the porn entries on Rule 34 XXX for Genshin. Like like it's not even a competition. Genshin literally has more porn entries than the number of units sold for Sonic Frontiers. It's completely disproportional, okay? So, yes, I do believe miHoYo is botting some places of the Genshin community. I definitely don't think that all of it is natural, and the amount of hype that is occurring for Genshin Impact. But ultimately, Genshin Impact is a good game. It might not be as good in quality as Elden Ring. It might not be as influential in terms of the amount of hype it generates at certain points. It might not have as much detail as God of War Ragnarok. It might not have as much nostalgia as Sonic Frontiers. It might not have like as many furries or whoever cat lovers as Stray is going to elicit. But I still have fun with the game, and I think a lot of other people have fun with the game, and definitely a lot of people are also horny for the game characters. So just the fact that it has bots is not going to explain the fact that it has so many porn entries. Maybe in the future, maybe actually even now, there's probably a lot of AI generated porn, and that's going to influence the number of porn entries in the future. But all the other franchises are going to have the same tools as well, so that probably doesn't explain it either. Anyways, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Game Awards. I don't take it seriously. I don't think you should either. If you honestly think that whether or not Genshin or Sonic Frontiers wins is important to you, and like your identity as a gamer, I think you should check out of gaming right now. I think you should take a good look at yourself and think about what you want to do in life. Because this is not indicative of the quality of the game. Just the fact that Sonic Frontiers or Genshin Impact wins does not indicate that these games are good games, regardless of whether or not they get the award or whatever happens. I think God of War Ragnarok is an amazing game. I watched Maximilian Dude stream it. I thought it was extremely good. The story, maybe not S++ tier, but it's definitely up there. Elden Ring, I've heard really good things about it. I didn't play it again because I didn't play any of these games because I just don't have the money. It's really that simple. How am I supposed to vote for these games if I've never played them? So Genshin Impact definitely has the advantage in that regard. As I've said, the amount of porn it's generated, the amount of money people have spent on it is immense. And that does indicate to some extent the number of players that are playing this game. So I hope people don't get too angry about this. Like, come on, just the fact that Genshin Impact is popular doesn't mean that these other games aren't good. Even though I did vote for Genshin Impact. Again, I don't really care whether or not this is ethical at the end of the day, because I don't consider the Game Awards an ethical and moral competition. I voted for this because I enjoy the game, and that's why I want rewards in the game. If voting for this is going to get me 800 Primo Gems to pull for the character I want, okay. It's just another way of soliciting votes for to garner like attention to the game, and I still enjoy the game, and that's why I want to get rewards in the game. It's very circular, but at the same time, it's based on a core of enjoyment that goes beyond just addiction. I am addicted to this game, but I'm not addicted to any of these other gacha games at the same time. I'm not addicted to like Elden Ring or God of War Ragnarok or Sonic Frontiers or Stray. And if you want to get into like the genre that Genshin Impact is competing with, I don't play Tower Fantasy either. I don't play Arknights anymore. I don't play, I don't know, Fate Grand Order. I tried, but it's really too old at this point. Maybe if they create a game that is like Genshin Impact, then I would play that franchise instead of Genshin. But it's really collapsing on it itself. When I try to pull, I get afraid that my phone will shut down and it will reject my payment. So Fate Grand Order might want to look into that. Anyways, this is Bench Gamer signing out.